Jag är tjej Crystalli Yanishia, naftodene etachi inishlan, na next ejetamba hampashichin, senjikina dashiche, kintlachin dashinale, Tiso Arizona Ade Nasha. Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Crystalli. I just said in Navajo what my name is, what my 4 clans are. I'm originally from a very, very small community on the Navajo Nation called Tiso, Arizona. I was born and raised on the Navajo Nation, and I have to acknowledge who I am and where I come from as I properly introduce myself in our Diné way. I know that indigenous knowledge is way ahead of the game when it comes to health and healing. And so I feel blessed that I have both ends and both knowledge of resources to continue to provide a cultural responsive way to help our people. United Natives has been doing amazing work in Indian country. We have been recognized by USA Today as one of the leading nonprofits to help Native American communities. United Natives really started to take off during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our tribes got hit really hard, especially the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Nation at one point in time had the highest rates of COVID-19 per population capita in the whole world. This put a lot of light on the disparities that we already know of. At that point in time, I had a close friend of mine named Dr. Michelle Tom, who was a Navajo physician. She reached out because she was being interviewed on the Today Show about her efforts as being a Navajo physician working the front lines. And she said, I really need a partnering nonprofit somewhere where if we're able to get donations that we can work together to then redistribute those supplies back out to Navajo Nation where supplies are already limited. I partnered up with Dr. Tom and we started to get all these donations in. We started to distribute out to Navajo communities, and we also distributed out to Hopi communities and also White Mountain Apache Nation. We received over $700,000 worth of donations. In addition to that, we do some mental health, behavioral health, social services work. If you all have been watching the news, you'll see a direct correlation between the pandemic and an increase of mental behavioral health issues. Anxiety, elevated stress levels, elevated grief, trauma due to loss of loved ones, due to loss of income because loss of jobs, housing insecurity, food insecurity, addiction use increase, whether it's alcohol or drugs. So all these rippling impacts weighed heavy in our community, and because of that, United Natives stepped in to now address the mental, behavioral, and social aspect of the aftermath of COVID-19. A lot of our services are culturally responsive. Through our quarantining, we quarantine over 500 Native people. Through our mental behavioral health services, we have helped over 700 people. And so United Natives has did a tremendous effort on addressing the gap in need when our tribal communities really needed it. I've always been interested in fashion. I love fashion. You know, fashion excites me. It lights up my spirit. Shopping is my cardio. I just love shopping and I love fashion. Combining art or fashion with culture and the significance of the meaning. And I thought at one point in time, like, I was trained as a scientist. Like, that's really what I was trained in. Could I even really do fashion? And if I did, what would that look like? But I thought one day I wanted to start a shoe line. I reached out to my now business partner, Randy Barton. I pulled him aside and I said, I have this idea about starting a shoe line. Would you be on board? Could you help me? Because he's an amazing artist / graphic designer. He was like, yeah, for sure. Randy popped back into my life professionally. He was helping make logos for United Natives, and then he started helping with one of our sites that does the quarantining and does the mental behavioral health. He started teaching art classes there, so more professionally we got to see each other more.
us meeting up was like the most perfect, you know, I wouldn't consider it an anomaly, but it was just this perfect, like the stars placed it just right where we were meant to do this. To see her help our people, and I was like, wow, she's really doing it. And I was like, hey man, I'm on board, whatever you need, Crystal. And that's when we were like, hey, remember that time we last talked? We were talking about, you know, making the shoe? And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm ready.
I was ready to start Dr.B collections. I had a vision with Dr.B at the time because now it just wasn't gonna be a shoe line. It's gonna be so much more. It's gonna be an accessory line with no limitations on our products that we make and design. Because of the United Natives is such a significant organization and giving back to the communities, it would be my responsibility to continue to give back. With Dr.B, I had the vision of a social entrepreneurial component, meaning that with every product that we sell, there will always be a percentage that goes back into United Natives to help assist with all our efforts, whether it's programming, existing programming, new programming, scholarships for Native youth, no matter what, that we could always utilize that money to help our communities, Indigenous communities.
And she also asked me, hey, is there anybody, if there's anyone you would bring in, you know, to what we're doing, to this team, who would it be? And I was like, boom, yo, it's Palani Bergos, the one I designed clothes with, designed for No End of Clothing. We were planning on starting the next collection, but, you know, COVID restrictions, and I was just kind of like, yo, P, where you at? I got this thing going on with Crystal. She's a long-time friend from childhood, and we're embarking in this new business. And I want you to get down. She was like, oh no. And I was like, remember we went to Complex Con? I was like, yo, would you ever start like a new brand? And would you be open to it, you know, as a collective with other people? And you told me, yeah. And I was like, so I'm using that. I'm pulling that card now. I'm using that.
Randy hit me up and was like, I have this thing to share with you and I want to see if you're able to come down to Arizona. It was an urgency because he felt that the connection was so strong and that the common goal in terms of what we each do in our own way, but collectively that it would be a force to be reckoned with. So he was like, come down, let's just see if this is something that might interest you. And I really wanted you to meet Crystal. And once we met, it was like synchronicity. I felt like I already knew her. It was crazy.
At that moment, I knew I created such an amazing design team. So we're taking people very in knowledge in clothing business and collaborating with a very scientific doctors to bring forth this new conscious brand that runs deep about giving back to our people.
With that mindset that stems culturally from how I was raised to always give back, why not utilize my platform as being CEO, founder of United Natives, and also my platform of CEO, founder of Dr.B Collections, to utilize Dr.B to get back into United Natives. I'm actually rocking this Dr.B scarf right now, which I am super proud of. Every piece of this means something. It has a significant meaning. It's me in every way. So I'm giving a piece of myself, a piece of my upbringing, a piece of my culture, and I'm gifting it to the world. And in return, your purchase will gift Indigenous communities to help in the spaces that they need help.
Hey, oh, hi. 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 Hey, oh, hi.
We have the same common passion, and that is to be able to give back to our Indigenous communities and to our people.
It's a beautiful project. It's something that's never been done before for scientists and designers, for artists to come together and create a brand.
Hey, oh, hi.